Very good. We're ready. I'd like to call the Economic Development Committee meeting to order. Roll call. Ward is present. Mr. Cleary. Mr. Cleary, I see him. He's present. Mr. Brewski.
Sorry.
Mr. Brewski is present.
Mr. Drake. I don't hear Mr. Drake. Mr. Efficoro.
Present.
Mr. Langdon.
Present.
Mr. Reedy.
Present.
Mr. Ricard.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
Very good. We have a quorum. Under previous business, we have approval of the previous meeting minutes. Does anybody have any comments or questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion
Mr.
to
Ricard, second. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Cleary, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. Item 2, public hearing on proposed local law A for 2021, a local law related to the procedures for the establishment, operation, modification, and disestablishment of tourism improvement districts in Albany County. I believe Mr. Efficoro was the sponsor. Would you like to comment on it?
Yes, sure, Mr. Chairman. I've just actually spoken about this to a few of you recently in the last meeting. But the goal of this is to promote tourism in Albany County and to help our hoteliers and hotel industry recover from the pandemic that we currently face. Now, this local law is basically being promoted or geared for by the hoteliers themselves who are responsible for this assessment. And they are actually asking for this immediately. They are so much in support of it. And I think if anyone is for economic development, if anyone is for businesses in Albany and helping to promote businesses in Albany and bringing income to our businesses, then this is the law that everyone should be supporting, no matter where they stand, no matter the political party or the affiliation. And this is why I've actually reached out to every single member here to see that we can find common grounds and try to address any concerns that anyone has relating to this piece of legislation. I'm not sure if Jill is also here. Okay, actually, I see her here. So I'm going to invite her, if you don't mind, so that she can give a few more comments on this.
Yeah, I was going to ask Ms. Delaney if she wanted to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. I would be happy to. So as for anyone who is not familiar, Discover Albany is the Albany County Convention and Visitors Bureau, as we were known for 40 years. And we're actually here on behalf of our hoteliers who've asked for this legislation to be put in place. If you aren't aware, we are currently funded by the occupancy tax, which is 6% on hotel room bills, but we only get 1/6 of that, which comes in at about 1.2 million in a normal year, obviously not in a COVID year. And that puts us way far behind our competition, even just here in New York State. We're outpaced by Rochester, Long Island, even Syracuse. Buffalo, for example, is now up to $4.2 million per year from their occupancy tax. So they're certainly better funded, and we're competing for the same business as these other destinations are. So they're able to bid on other business. They're able to put in bid fees. Sometimes you have to spend $25,000 just to apply to bring a sporting event here. So there's a lot beyond simply tourism marketing that we need to do with the money. And 1.2 million, while it does bring in $71 million in local sales tax here to Albany County, it could bring in so much more. It grow exponentially as more money is there to invest in each county. And that's been shown in Erie County, which is Visit Buffalo Niagara, for example. They certainly bring in a significantly larger sales tax and local tax than we do. There's a lot to this. I think it's a very complicated thing to explain. I have with me Tiffany Gallagher, who is actually the national expert on these almost 200 districts that have been formed, but they're popping up everywhere now. The state of Massachusetts has just allowed this to happen there. So we're now going to be competing not only for the business that comes just to New York State, but some of you may remember last January, we had a wonderful month. It was unusually busy here because we took a piece of business that was in Worcester, Mass at their Civic Center, which was a US figure skating event, and brought them here to Albany County. And it was our best January on record. It's usually a very quiet time here. And our hotels loved this piece of business, but they also generated a ton of spending to our restaurants and our different tourism assets, our retail assets. So many people benefit when we do this. Well, now Worcester can easily just buy this business right back because they're going to be allowed to form a tourism improvement district. So this is not really something simply for getting through the pandemic and recovering, which our hotels desperately need. You know, that I'm sure all of you saw the news stories where the Department of Labor announced that, you know, in 2020 alone, the hospitality industry lost more than 15,000 jobs just here in the Albany region. So we took the most immediate major hit, and we need to get these people back to work. And the way to do that is to provide the funding to bring people back when the time is right.
Very good. Okay, I just want to remind everybody that tonight we're going to be voting on the public law, setting the public hearing for local law A and not on the law itself. So does anybody have any questions? Mr. Ricard, I see your hand up.
I can do whatever you prefer. I can make a motion to, you know, set it to public hearing, or I did have a couple of questions of the individuals that are on the call. Well, how do you want to handle it, Mr. Ward?
I have no objection. It's everybody's committee. So if you have a question that you feel is needed to ask today, that's fine. No problem.
Okay. So I'll make a motion, but a couple of questions of Tiffany or Jill. I'm a legislator. I represent the city of Cohoes. We have no hotels physically or in our geographical borders. There is some in a zip code of 12047. Century House is a prime example. So that's in 12047. Zip code, not physically, geographically, the city of Cohoes. However, my question is, how will the city of Cohoes benefit from this from a tourism standpoint? Obviously, I have the music hall. I have the falls, the Van Skyke Mansion. It's just three off the top of my head. How will those benefit from this, what you guys are proposing?
That's an excellent question, Mr. Ricard. The Cohoes Music Hall is actually a fantastic example. They are one of the many destinations that we promote here. And our ability to tout all of the assets that are across the county comes from the dollars that come in. So we would be able to further promote what they do, but also the board that governs the spending of this money could also help to support investment in tourism infrastructure. So if there was a major need and we saw, you know, the Cohoes Music Hall was going to need some investment in order to bring further business, which will of course drive hotel room nights. Anything that brings people in to pay for tickets will most likely drive room nights. They could vote to spend money to do that. So it certainly drives, if the Cohoes Music Hall is busy, the local restaurants are busy. And if the local restaurants are busy, then we're employing linen companies who are delivering that service, or paper companies. So it really exponentially impacts all the businesses around that area.
And not to mention, the biggest economic driver is not only jobs, but sales tax revenue to the local municipalities, as well as the county.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mr. Reedy, we do have your motion, Mr. Ricard. Yes. Mr. Reedy had his hand up. I believe.
Oh, no, I'm good.
No.
Just,
Ms. Lakakis did no. Then I'm sorry.
That's how we go. I read a lot about this today, and it's quite possible that I got completely the wrong idea, but I just wanted to clarify, are all the hotels that have more than 25 beds in the county eligible to be a part or to be chosen for one of these little groups?
So the reason that 25, I know it gets confusing. So right now, our occupancy tax law is based on hotels of 25 rooms or more. So we mirrored our written legislation for this on the current occupancy tax law because that's already an existing collection mechanism. But all hotels, regardless of size, would actually benefit. So even if they're not paying into this, they benefit from the promotion that we do. And what they do individually is they can join our organization as a partner, either free or paid, depending on the level of promotion they want. But we will give free promotion to anyone in the county. This money just gives us more money to promote them. So bed and breakfast, for example, absolutely, they get promoted as well, and they clearly benefit.
My question was more, for some reason, I thought that city hotels were not included in. I don't know if I read something else and I just misunderstood that from somewhere. So
Nope.
that was my question.
Okay, no, that's not. All hotels in Albany County would participate.
If I can add to that, I just want to clarify that this law is an enabling law that would allow for hotels of any size to be in a district. We're proposing that the particular district that we would attempt to form via
Bathroom here?
would
You want to use a bathroom?
have hotels of 25 or more. That's only if the hotels decide to include that in their plan. And so this particular law we're looking to pass is the enabling law that would allow for industry specific businesses to form a district. The plan specific to the formation would come after the passage of this law, if that makes
Very
sense.
good. Any other questions or comments? If not,
Mr. Ward?
Mr. Grimm? Yes, sir, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I think we can have more discussion as we get closer to this because I know this is the public hearing, but let's be clear what we're asking for here. This is a $3 million tax hike. Instead of paying 14% on every dollar that when you come to a hotel, you're going to pay 16%. Now, certainly tourism is needed, but I also think that half the hotel tax now is going to the Capitol Center where it shouldn't be going there. So we ought to consider other potential revenue sources as well. The 25 room thing, if I have 24 rooms, I don't have to pay. And if I have 25 rooms, I do pay. That's not fair to me because the tourism is going to be benefiting all the hotel rooms. And we really have to talk about what about these new kind of arrangements when people rent their own rooms out? Are they going to be picked up on this tax as well? So there's a lot that needs to be worked through here, not the least of which is to hear from more hotel people because not all of them are for this. Thank you.
Yeah, I will tell you over the history, and I'll show my longevity here a little while, but every time we have an issue involving the hotel tax or any tax revolving around hotels, we get a large cloud of speakers. So I'm sure that we'll hear from them this time as well.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Everybody's all set. We'll entertain Mr. Ricard's motion. Do we have a second? Mr. Langdon? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed for the public hearing? Okay, it's passed. Item number 3 is local law A will be tabled until after the public hearing. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you all.
See you
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, John.
See you next week.